4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff Falcon 9, go WorldView Legion.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
MOD to your bridge from nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40, carrying the WorldView Legion satellites. After clearing the tower, we tilt or gimbal the engines to initiate a roll maneuver, which you're getting a good view of on your screen right now.
Nominal.
Confirmation there that power and telemetry for Falcon 9 are both nominal. That gimbaling maneuver that we're watching enables the vehicle's antennas to stay in the best position for communicating with the ground. And with that call out, we also know that Falcon 9 is now moving faster than the speed of sound. So right now, while the vehicle is still going up, it's also moving horizontally away from the launch pad. And there we heard the call out for max Q, which of course is the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Falcon 9 passes max Q once the air density lowers faster than the increasing speed of the vehicle.
And back in flight chill.
Now the rocket needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and reach orbit. So you can of course keep an eye on that stage 1 telemetry at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and watch for these speed changes throughout ascent. Now we have 5 events coming up in quick succession here, starting with MECO, then stage separation, stage 1 flip, SES-1, and first stage boost back burn. MECO will see us shut down all 9 M1D engines on the first stage. Stage separation is when the first and second stages of Falcon separate from one another. And second engine start 1, or SES-1, is when we will light the MVAC engine on the second stage for the first time.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition. Stage 1 boost back startup.
There you heard and are getting great views of those events ongoing. Again, these were MECO, stage separation, stage 1 flip, SES-1 with that great view of MVAC on the right-hand side of your screen, and confirmation of first stage boost back burn begin. Next up, we are standing by for fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
There's confirmation from Mission Control that the fairing halves have jettisoned away from the payload. We will be attempting to retrieve these fairing halves again today once they fall back to Earth with our recovery vessel Bob, which is currently stationed in the Atlantic Ocean.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
And confirmation that the boost back burn on stage 1 has shut down. It is T plus 3 minutes and 48 seconds into today's mission, and the next major milestone we're tracking is actually around the T plus 6 minute mark.
Nominal trajectories.
Confirmation there that both vehicles are following nominal trajectories. And as always, you can keep an eye on both stage 1 and stage 2 telemetry in the bottom of your screen. Again, we are standing by for that first stage entry burn, during which we will relight 3 of the M1D engines on board the first stage, starting with the center engine, known as E9, followed shortly after by the E1 and E5 engines, which is similar to pumping the brakes to slow down the vehicle as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We need to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which then helps us to recover and reuse that first stage booster. During the entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing those Merlin engines, but we're still moving really, really fast. And this causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, also known as the rocket's plume, which will deposit a layer of soot on the vehicle surface. That soot, of course, comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little more on the outside of the vehicle. Oftentimes, prior to launch, you can see that soot on the outside of the first stage. If you are just joining us, we are a little bit more than 5 minutes into today's launch of the WorldView Legion spacecraft. On the right-hand side of your screen, you have a great view of our MVAC engine on its way to orbit. And on the left-hand side, we've got great views as well. Great shots of the grid fins on board the first stage on the left-hand side there. In just about 20 seconds, we should hear the call out for that entry burn begin. Reusability is, of course, the key to lowering the cost of spacecraft, which enables more investments in critical scientific research. The Falcon 9 first stage supporting today's mission is about to perform this entry burn for the 16th time.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Confirmation of burn startup, and we are expecting this entry burn to last for just about 20 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Confirmation of entry burn shutdown. The Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level. These achieve about 190,000 pounds of thrust, both during ascent and descent. At liftoff, Falcon 9's first stage has thrust greater than 5 747 airplanes at full power. The MVAC engine on the right-hand side of your screen has a much wider nozzle and is optimized to 220,000 pounds of thrust in vacuum. Coming up next, we are waiting for the landing burn of the first stage. Then we'll shut down our MVAC engine on the second stage.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Incredible views of that landing burn for the Falcon 9 booster on your screen right now. And there was that sonic boom.
Stage 2 FTS. Stage 1 landing light deploy.
That was the 16th launch
confirmed.
And landing for this first stage. You just heard that confirmation from Mission Control. That landing marks SpaceX's 339th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy.
SECO.
There's the confirmation of SECO 1.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And confirmation of nominal orbital insertion. Our first payload deploy today will be happening just past the T plus 47-minute mark. We'll be back in about 33 minutes for second engine start 2, or SES 2. But for now, we're going to enjoy some space tunes, and we'll be back soon.
And back ignition. And shutdown.
There's confirmation of MVAC SES-2 and SECO-2, so with that, we'll be back in about 2 minutes, just in time to catch that first payload deployment today.
Nominal orbit insertion.
MAXAR's third WorldView Legion satellite deployed.
Awesome shots of that spacecraft just following deployment. Again, that was the successful deployment of the third WorldView Legion spacecraft. We'll be back in about 19 minutes, or at the T plus 1 hour and 7 minute mark for the SES-3, the third of 4 total second stage burns on today's mission. We'll see you soon. Hi again, and thanks for tuning in. We're coming up on our third ignition of the MVAC engine. We're standing by to hear this called out over the nets as SES-3. This will be another quick burn lasting just about 7 seconds.
MVAC ignition.
There's confirmation of MVAC startup.
And shutdown.
Confirmation of SECO 3.
Nominal park orbit.
Hello and welcome back to our coverage of the MAXAR 2 mission, carrying the third and fourth WorldView Legion satellites for MAXAR. We are coming up on our fourth ignition of the MVAC engine, which we'll hear called out over the nets as SES-4. We're expecting that to begin in just about 15 seconds, and this is going to be another short burn. There we had great views on your screen of SES-4 and SECO 4. And there we hear confirmation as
Nominal
well.
orbit insertion.
And good confirmation of orbital insertion. So with that, we'll head back into our final 6-minute coast of the day. We'll see you back here at T plus 1 hour and 49 minutes for the deployment of the fourth WorldView Legion spacecraft. Hello and welcome back. We are now at T plus 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 44 seconds into today's mission, and coming up next, we have deployment of the fourth WorldView Legion satellite, the second on today's mission. If you're just joining us, we have had a beautiful flight today, beginning with an on-time launch at 9 a.m. Eastern. The first stage booster returned to Earth and successfully landed at LZ-1 about 8 minutes after takeoff. Earlier in the broadcast, we also showed deployment of the first spacecraft on today's mission. We've had 4 total successful ignitions and shutdowns of our second stage.
MAXAR's fourth WorldView Legion satellite deployed.
And there's confirmation of that WorldView Legion spacecraft, the fourth in this constellation for MAXAR. Of course, with that confirmation, we'll bring today's webcast to a close.